Above, start cleaning those tires up. On green this time. Remember, they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Face car's off. Be ready. Bud, be ready. Gas that bitch up. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inside Pass on WSIC TV. We have a full house in the studio today. It's Team Venturini Appreciation Day here in the studio.
We have a full house consisting of a pair of aces.
Yes, exactly. To my right is Ryan Repko. You guys probably know him from Thursday's show. He was just here. He lives here now. And then next to Ryan is Michael Self, also an ARCA driver. Both of them are teammates this year for Venturini Motorsports. So we'll talk to them, and then we're going to do a little pop quiz on the history of Venturini Motorsports. So we'll see which one of them knows the most about the team they drive for.
I lost one of these quizzes last year. I don't remember where it was, but it's all right.
I tried to make it as easy as possible, so I mean we'll see what happens. But anyway, Tom Baker's over there in the I call it the Silman seat because it's usually Jacob's seat, but on Thursday anyway. But that is the coldest seat in the entire continental United States.
That's why I wore long sleeves today.
Yes, because the vent, you guys can't see it, but the vent above his head is wide open. So when the air conditioner comes on, you will see him turn blue. And likely turn into a penguin at some point.
Smurf.
So there'll be ice coming from him at some point. I was over there on Thursday, and I'm still cold. So anyway, we are going to talk about Venturini Motorsports. We're going to talk about the ARCA Series. These boys are going to be leaving for Daytona in a couple of weeks to hopefully visit Victory Lane, or at least that's their goal anyway. So we'll talk to them about that. Ryan was on Thursday's show, so we'll get Michael's thoughts on the ARCA test. But I know, Ryan, you have 5 races right now. For Venturini Motorsports. I know the goal is probably to run the entire season, or at least try to run the whole season, but I know you're excited about that. How do you think the test went in Daytona?
I think it went really well. I learned a lot. I hadn't been there in 2 years, so it was good to get a refresher, and the track was a little bit different than I remember, with it being a little bit bumpier, but all around I think it was good, and we made a lot of positive changes.
Yeah, Michael, what do you think? How do you think the test went?
I was pretty happy with where we're at. The car I'll be driving this year in the race is the same car that I won there with in, I guess it was 2018, when I was back in the 15 car with Kevin Reed on that. So it was kind of nice to be back in that car. That was a big transition from last year when I finished 31st after wrecking on lap 3.
What car number were you driving last year?
Last year was in the 25.
Oh,
and
so
this year
can't do that anymore.
Well, this year we'll be back in the 25, and hopefully it's not a thing that's attached to the numbers. But I thought we had a productive test. I thought as a team we made a lot of good adjustments. I think all 3 of the Venturini cars were really quick. I was especially happy with the way mine drove, but sometimes the test just doesn't mean a whole lot when you get down there and you actually get into the race. But the guys have been working hard, and we've got fast cars, so we'll see how it ends up.
So a lot of fans probably follow the ARCA Series, probably know you, Michael, from your name, but maybe not necessarily like they look at you and they're like, your name sounds familiar, but I don't recognize the car. His hat is an indication of what the car looks like. It's a big green dinosaur.
Yeah,
and I love it. I love that.
Hopefully most people are getting to understand that because we've had so much positive fan feedback since we bought the car out in 2016 for the first time. It's been awesome to be a part of that and to have Sinclair on board, to be an ambassador for them, just because it is such a fun brand to work with. I mean, you hit kids that love the dinosaur, you hit the over 50 group especially who remember Sinclair when it was a national brand back in the 50s and 60s, and so you get a lot of comments about when they're going to see a Sinclair back in their region, or the kids want to know how they can get a dinosaur. Everyone seems to have a Sinclair, not a real dinosaur. Those stuff come by. Just so you guys know.
I'm curious how to get a real dinosaur myself. Actually,
yeah, they tried it once. It was in a movie, I think. But it's cool to be a part of that and to have so much to have so much value from an iconic brand and to have so much positive feedback from it. It really does make it a lot of fun, and the car does look cool. It's fun to have a dinosaur on the car.
Yeah, your paint scheme, I'm sure, appeals to a lot of kids when you go to personal appearances and stuff, and the car's with you. It's like all the kids flock to the car because it has a green dinosaur on it, and they're like
Well, like you said, if you don't know me, then you probably know the Dino car. I mean, that's just what everyone calls it. Everyone wants to see the dinosaur car. And frankly, if you care less about me, that's fine. But if you like the car, that's actually what matters the most.
It's like, I don't care about the car. I don't care about me. So, Mike, are you going to run the whole season? Do you know yet?
We'll run somewhere between 1 and 20 races. We're not sure. We'll be at Daytona. I saw my name is on the entry list for that one, and so we're trying to figure out everything else and get it nailed down. But we'll be out there for some.
Well, if there are any big companies listening if you're looking for a great way to like explode your brand, we've got the guy. In fact, we've got two of the guys. I was
going to say, man, we've got two of them
we've
here.
Got and two of the guys
it's been great. I mean, Sinclair is actually a great representation of the ARCA series and how they've grown. In 2016, they did one race, and they grew last year to a full schedule, which was a 7-figure paycheck from them, and it's because it's worked. The ARCA model has been really good for Sinclair as far as raising awareness for the brand, getting those comments that I was just talking about from kids, from older folks, people that want to see Sinclair expand back into their region. It's driven merchandise sales. You know, they're a strong image of the sponsorship model and how it can work in racing when it's done right. And so that's cool. And we like to use that. It's a good case study for how racing is still alive and strong, especially for growing sponsors.
So you made the point for me. I was going to say everybody says NASCAR's dying or racing is dying. No, it's not. That sponsors are still, there are more Fortune 500 companies in NASCAR now than there's ever been. It's just a different model now, and if you know how to take advantage of all the sport offers, you can really you can use it very effectively, and Sinclair's obviously tapped into that.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, we use it a lot from a hospitality standpoint. A lot of Sinclair's customers, a lot of their distributors come out to the races because frankly, it's still a new thing for them. It's a lot of people from, especially out west, that just don't know a lot about racing. And frankly, I get it. If you don't know a lot about racing, you can sit down, you can watch a cup race or something and maybe say, man, it's 3 or 4 hours of the same thing. It gets a little monotonous or you can get bored. But when you've got a vested stake in it, or when you've got some skin in the game, I guess, so to speak, say the brand that you work with or the brand that you buy fuel from, that makes it cool. You come to the race, and that kind of makes it a little bit extra special, and you get an attachment to it. So from the business to business side of it, that's where the sport's really strong and the sport's developing. And we've been fortunate enough to build on that with Sinclair and to continue building on that. I mean, you've got as strong of manufacturer support as you can get from the automobile side with Toyota and some of these other guys. And so hopefully other brands are seeing that and starting to come for those reasons.
Awesome. We will talk more about brand identity later on in the show. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how these boys got their start in racing on the Inside Pass on WSIC. We'll be right back.
This is News Talk, 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC, where Troutman turns first for breaking news and severe weather alerts.
Randy Marion's the king of price. Go check out the great deals on new and pre-owned vehicles. Whatever your needs are, Randy Marion Ford of Statesville's got you covered. Go see him today. You'll be glad you did. Randy Marion Ford, I-77, exit 49B. Visit randymarionford.com.
For WSIC, I'm Fox 46 meteorologist Nick Koser. Second half of the day around the lake. Going to be sunny but chilly, a high of only 39. Overnight low down to about 20. Tomorrow, more sunshine, a touch warmer with a high of 46 degrees. And then for Thursday, partly sunny skies and warmer yet with a high of 48. From the Neighborhood Stormwatch Forecast Center, I'm meteorologist Nick Koser. Be sure to catch Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane today on Fox 46 News at 5.
Message and data rates may apply.
Earning your degree from one of the top business schools in the country might sound impossible to fit into your workload. But what if there were a business degree that advanced your career skills and gave you access to world-renowned faculty, leaders, and mentors all on your schedule? One that opened doors to some of the most influential CEOs, tech companies, law firms, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. And what if you could earn that degree in as little as 16 months, 100% online? Find out more. Text DRIVE to 79645. Start on the path to earning your MBA or Business Analytics Master's degree online from the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University today. Learn more about the graduate programs from the top-ranked W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, offered 100% online. Text DRIVE to 79645. That's DRIVE to 79645.
Have you noticed how many of your friends wear hearing aids? Probably not. Today's hearing instruments are so discreet, most people don't see them. But take my word for it. A lot of people are wearing them. We're not talking about granddad's hearing aid, no whistling, unsightly contraption. Today's hearing aids do so much more than just hearing. They're Bluetooth devices for your phone. They stream TV directly into your ears, and there's even one that translates 27 languages into your ear. No kidding. But not everybody wants all the bells and whistles. And for those folks, we offer effective hearing devices starting at just $785, which clarify speech in a variety of situations. My name is David Bowles of Bowles Hearing Care Services. Deanna Howard and I have 57 years combined experience in hearing healthcare. We'll uncover the nature of your hearing problem and find the right solutions for you, ones that are affordable and help you understand the voices you most want to hear. To find out what we can do for you, call Bowles Hearing Care Services now at 704-660-9188 or visit online at bowleshearing.com. You'll like what you hear.
This is Justin Lofton, and you're listening to the best guys on the radio, The Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass on WSIC. We thank you for watching us. If you're watching us either through the digital station or through the continuum cable channel, which is Channel 4 in the Mooresville area, or if you're listening to us on one of the 3 stations that WSIC broadcasts from, or even on the web if you're listening to the live stream. We thank you so much for joining us. It is Team Venturini Motorsports Appreciation Day here at the Inside Pass. Randy Miller, Tom Baker here with you. I got Ryan Repko and Michael Self, both drivers for Venturini Motorsports this season. And then off in the background is Nick Moncher. He's the PR guy. Nick Moncher. The one and only Nick Moncher. Who is the jack of all trades over at Venturini Motorsports, and hope maybe he can come be part of the show when Michael has to exit out of here in a little bit. So maybe,
that's
maybe
a
Nick
great
will come
idea.
and be part of the rest of the show.
You gonna be able to fill the shoes?
He filled some shoes on Thursday during our overtime.
He did very well
that day. So we'll see what we can do. So I wanted to talk about what you guys do, outside of racing, because I mean both of you guys are taking college courses, so you have to fit that into your schedule as well as also trying to balance public appearances and working out in the gym and all that kind of stuff. How do you guys balance that? Ryan, we'll start with you, and then Michael, you can jump into.
So it's tough because most of my days are actually booked down to the minute, really.
Right.
So, today, for example, I came in this morning and I'm doing this radio show, and immediately after this, I'm actually going to leave and go to class, and I'll be there for the next, I think I've got class for about 4 hours today.
7 years.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about just today, but then after that, I might try to do some sort of workout deal afterwards, but most of the time I work out in the mornings and get that out of the way. That way I can go to class afterwards, but it really is tough trying to do it all, but I enjoy it. Wouldn't trade it for anything,
Michael?
Yeah, so actually I'll give Brian props because taking classes in person, that's got to be challenging. I went back to school in 2016 where I did all my online schooling at Central Piedmont Community College. And I guess just last spring was my first semester at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, where I'm studying business administration, working on my bachelor's there. I think I've got probably just about a year left, but all my classes are online. And so my schedule is kind of like Ryan's, but I guess it's a little bit easier to kind of manipulate if I have to. So I basically wake up and spend the first couple hours of the morning doing schoolwork online, have lunch, try and get to the gym for an hour or two in the afternoon, then come back. Straight back to school until my wife gets home, and then I make dinner and try and juggle everything. With a family, it's definitely, I'm sure as you guys know, you've got to make time for that as well. And so we definitely stay busy down in the Self household. We've got a house that my wife and I actually bought just about 2 years ago now that we're remodeling, remodeling too. And it was kind of cool over the break, over Christmas break. I was able to do one of the bathrooms on my own. That was my first real remodel project.
Nice.
Pretty excited with how that came out. And I learned a whole lot there. And the problem is that opened up a whole bag of other things that I have to do on the house now that I'm expected to do and do a good job with. So I've got a bunch of drywall to rip down and painting to do. And yeah, that'll be fun. So it's definitely like you said, it's a full schedule.
Is that translated to I have to fix everything I broke trying to do the bathroom, or how does
No, actually, the bathroom actually went really well, and my father-in-law gave me some great advice because he's been and they've hit my wife's parents have been in real estate for a long time. They've done a bunch of flipping and done a ton of work, and he said, look, you're not going to mess anything up past the point of someone being able to come in and fix it. So he was like, give it a shot, learn. There's YouTube videos out there, and he was right. It was relatively simple.
That's awesome.
And now that, the problem is we had 2 of our main bathrooms remodeled for about 3.5 months last year. It was a nightmare. I don't know if anyone out there, you've been through the process of dealing with contractors and that. It was a nightmare, right? And the problem is when they did stuff and I'm paying all this money for it, you look at it and you say, well, I don't like that. I paid a lot of money. This is a little problem right here. When I went in and did it, I'm like, well, I did the best that I can do. So it's not that big of a deal to have that. But it's cool to be developing skills, and I've thought about life after racing. Maybe there's something that I've learned there that I can take on.
Sure, that's awesome.
It's funny because it's like, he'll disappear for like 2 hours and be like, where did he go? And he's in the bathroom admiring his work. Just wow, I did a great job.
So we're waiting on. I've got like 7 doors on order, interior doors on order from Lowe's, and one of those is for that bathroom. So in that bathroom, there's a window through the living room that looks right straight into it. So I wouldn't recommend actually using it for 2 hours. We've got a lot of people that walk the dogs, a lot of kids in the neighborhood in particular. So you want to avoid that. But one day, yeah.
So it's like just a bunch of tile with the green dinosaur on it, just all over the bathroom.
I try and sneak in a little dinosaur everywhere on the hat now. My wife tells me all the time, she's like, we've got way too. We don't need any more dinosaurs. We've got boxes of dinosaurs. I actually just got a shipment in to take to the shop the other day that's filled with inflatable dinosaurs and stuffed animal dinosaurs.
Like Ward Burton when he used to have Net Zero as his sponsor. Remember that? He used to, the logo is on everything. And then all of a sudden you see it on his dog and he's like, now this logo's starting to scare me. That kind of how Ward talks. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's a dinosaur at Michael's house.
That's funny. All right, we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna play a little ultimate Venturini quiz between you guys. So that's why the bell is in the middle. So there's 5 questions, so it's best 3 out of 5. Please no fighting, because what's going to end up happening is somebody's going to remember this, and then at Daytona on the last lap, somebody's going to be revengeful from this quiz being failed. So I don't want to be responsible for a Venturini car. So please contain yourself. All right. So question number 1: in what year was Venturini Motorsports formed? It's a 54-minute show.
Oh man!
Don't everybody guess at once.
Exactly.
I don't know.
We need to get an IKEA to get the Final Jeopardy theme going here.
Yeah.
Was it okay? I'll give it a shot.
All right.
Was it? This might be way off. Was it 1967?
No. Wrong.
Okay.
1982.
Oh wow. Okay, I was way off.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get that right
I
either.
was hoping you get at least a little close. Like, you're a little off. No, you were like...
No, that was
I was
bad.
guessing the 70s.
All right, question number 2. Bill Venturini Sr. is a former ARCA champion. How many times did he win the championship?
2.
Oh,
Man.
Ryan at the buzzer. Good job.
Reptile got it.
There you go.
We need to make a rule, okay? Hands have to be on the table for the next 2 until he's finished with the question.
All right.
Okay, no hovering.
All right. So one for
I knew what
Ryan.
he was going to ask.
All right. Question number 3. True or false? Bill Sr. formed the first all-female pit crew.
You already done with the question.
Was he not? Dang it.
No.
I knew what he was going to ask.
Well, no, now Michael
Doesn't
gets
matter.
to answer it first.
All right.
It's true.
It was. That's why I said
Correct. No, you cheated. You're already cheating.
DQ'd.
This guy. Watch this guy. Hey, if the ARCA officials are listening to this, watch this guy on restarts.
I'm going to pass below
We
the
got
apron
strict
and win.
rules. Yeah,
I'm going to pass
what
below the
I'm
apron and win the
saying.
Daytona ARCA
It's
race.
not 2017. Okay, they
Racers
changed the
always
rules.
trying
Can't
to
pass
get the
outside.
edge.
Try it. All right. Question number 4. I'm going to make sure that he's not looking at the paper. Billy Venturini ended a 12-year winless streak in 2006 after no wins in 2007. What driver gave the team its first victory in 2008?
Joey Logano.
Good job.
That was
One
such
for
a
Michael.
soft.
And he's like, I'm
yeah.
going to try. All right.
Wasn't very confident.
Final question. Michael, you can tie it here. Which of the following drivers has not been a developmental driver for Venturini Motorsports? Justin Allgaier, Alex Bowman, Michael Annett, or William Byron?
Michael Annett.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good
It's quick.
job. All right. So Ryan won. So the rookie wins the title of, I guess, most knowledgeable for this
Yeah,
round.
but neither of them knew when Venturini started.
That's
so
true.
I think
That's true.
we need, Nick, we need a class for these two on the history of Venturini Motorsports.
Yes.
Well, why don't we do it
That's-
over with me versus Nick after Michael has to go?
Better come up with some new questions.
Boy. Yeah, now if you beat
They're
the
going to have
PR
to be true or
guy,
false, though, because
definitely-
otherwise I don't have a chance.
That's funny.
All right. Good job.
Good
All right.
job, guys.
So let's talk about brand development and brand support, because before the break we were talking about Michael's relationship with Sinclair Oil. It's always good to have a sponsor that's going to stay with you in the long term, and that's kind of what you want to build when you're starting out in racing, is to get a good sponsor that's going to stick with you no matter where you go in your career. And we've seen that a lot, Lowe's and Jimmy Johnson, DuPont with Jeff Gordon. So it happens, but it also happens the opposite way, and a lot of drivers end up losing the coveted ride because of sponsorship issues or whatever. So, Michael, talk a little bit about your relationship with Sinclair Oil and how well you guys have been able to keep that relationship going throughout your career.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is kind of what I was touching on before the break is we've been able to get the customers and the distributors involved, and that's for Sinclair. I mean, that's how they make their business. So Sinclair doesn't actually own any of their own sites. Sinclair is strictly a fuel and oil producing company. Every station that you see out there is licensed out, right? So as long as we've been able to build the relationships with those guys, and a lot of them have, some of them have more than 100 stations, some of them have 5 stations, somewhere in between, and it's been bringing those folks to the track and just giving them a new experience, hospitality-wise, but also saying, hopefully this is something that in their region, let's say they've got their distribution center, they can go and say, look, if this guy distributes to this trucking company or this fleet company, whatever it may be, it's a pass-through because he can go to that company and say, hey, Sinclair sponsors a race car. We've got a little bit of access to that. Would you be interested in maybe upping your spend with us? We can put you on the race car. There's a ton of opportunity there when you've got different customers and different people involved. And I think that's the most important thing, especially that I always try and teach younger guys who are trying to get sponsorship is, hey, you really have to understand the company that you're trying to pitch to and understand every part of the company because you have to go in and know, look, maybe it makes sense to this one section. Maybe the marketing department over here it makes sense for from an exposure standpoint, but we have to make sense for it from Sinclair, from the refining standpoint of it, the delivery standpoint of it, all the 5 different tiers that make up Sinclair Oil Corporation and keep them involved because that's what's going to keep the CEO happy and just show, hey, we can make an impact in each one of these little segments of it because if one part of the company is not happy or not seeing some kind of return on it, that's when you're going to start having a little bit of trouble with it. And so it's a ton of work. I can't stress enough that it's not something you just get on board and just kind of latch onto it and carry it around. I mean, every day you're thinking about how can you grow this? What can I do? What can you do to make a positive impact? How can you keep the relationship building? How can you keep trying to find ways to generate new revenue for not just Sinclair but for their customers as well?
So before we go to break, I know people are probably going to want to follow you on social media. So, Michael, how do they follow you on social media and keep up with your career? I'm
pretty accessible across all 3 on Twitter. What's the other ones? Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm. I think I can just be found on at Michael Self over there. And then Sinclair, actually, they're the good ones to follow on social media. They do a ton of giveaways throughout the year. They're always giving away merchandise. Last year, they actually gave away a fully paid trip to Kansas Speedway for the ARCA finale.
Wow.
I think it was airfare and all. It was a pretty cool deal. Put them up and had them come hang out in the suite. So, we'll see how many races we do this year. Maybe there'll be some more of that stuff to come. But give them a follow at Sinclair Oil Corp and follow along.
All right, cool. And for those of you who are watching right now, the ARCA race, I believe, is February 8th. Is that correct?
Sounds right.
Something like that.
Yeah, something.
It's like 2 weeks away.
Saturday of that week.
Saturday of that week, whatever date that is. But Michael, good luck to you in the ARCA race. We are going to take a break. Ryan's going to stick around, and Nick's going to join us when we come back on the Inside Pass on WSIC.
This is News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC, where Lincolnton turns first for breaking news and severe weather alerts.
Good morning, I'm Renee Tomey. Chris Hoke is here with your local headlines. You've tuned in to hear local news, and so have a lot of other people. Your business could be advertising right here. Find out how affordable it can be. Call 704-872-6345, 704-872-6345.
WSIC News, I'm Margaret Beveridge. Sweet Dreams Mattress and Furniture owners Greg and Katie Law won Cashin's Business Persons of the Year award at Friday's Lake Norman Chamber Gala.
The Chamber has always meant a lot to our business since day one. It's really one of the first things we did when we opened our business was join the Chamber.
That's Katie Law on what being a part of the Chamber has meant for their business. The Laws own 4 locations around the lake, 2 in Mooresville, 1 in Cornelius, and 1 in Denver. Puerto Rico Governor Wanda Vazquez fired the heads of the Housing and Family Departments Sunday in the latest fallout over the discovery of a warehouse filled with emergency supplies dating from Hurricane Maria in 2017. The removal of the Housing Secretary and the Department of Family Secretary came a day after the governor fired the director of Puerto Rico's Emergency Management Agency. Vazquez fired him hours after a Facebook video showed angry people breaking into a warehouse in an area where thousands have been in shelters since a recent earthquake. I'm Margaret Beveridge, WSIC News.
Action Jackson services commercial and residential cleaning in Iredell and surrounding counties. Rental properties, move in and move out. Call today for a free estimate of your cleaning needs. Big or small, we clean them all. 704-928-6818.
Action Jackson. Listen up, Carolinas. During the Start Something New sales event, there's only one Jeep dealer in the Carolinas that has the largest new Jeep inventory. Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are the only Jeep dealer in the Carolinas that guarantees we will beat any new Jeep deal. The Start Something New sales event is going on now at Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Located at I-77 at exit 28. Online at LakeNormanChrysler.com.
Hey, this is Jessica Babington from Trump International Realty here in Mooresville. Come see us for all your Lake Norman real estate needs. Check us out online at TrumpInternationalRealty.com. Again, that's TrumpInternationalRealty.com.
There's a problem with coffee today. We throw it in our shopping carts and just drink it out of habit. Transform your coffee experience with Black Powder Coffee, roasted right here in Mooresville. Black Powder Coffee gives you a prime roasted craft blend at a reasonable price. Depending on the bean, you'll taste subtle notes of vanilla, berries, and chocolates with a smooth finish. Pick up Black Powder Coffee at Harris Teeter, Ingalls, Publix, La Fresca, The Coffee Lodge, or Lowry Drug. When you're in Mooresville, stop by the roastery, 256 Raceway Drive, blackpowdercoffee.com.
I'm Chase Elliott, and you're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC. Randy Miller, Tom Baker is sitting over in the Silman seat today, also known as the coldest seat in the universe.
Chili corner.
The chili corner. Ryan Repko is next to me, and Nick Monter is taking Michael Self's place. Michael had to take a run for it and do some Michael Self things. But good luck to him at Daytona. Hopefully he'll get to defend that championship, or not the championship he almost won. He finished second to Christian Eckes.
See, Ryan's kind of looking at you like, well, yeah, but I kind of want to win.
Well, no, I know he does. We got to get him some more races because 5 races is not going to be quite enough to win the championship.
I think it'd be great to see him win his first race.
Definitely.
That would be amazing.
Definitely. But speaking of winning races, Ryan won a really big race last year in the Cars Tour, the Throwback 276. Which is a fantastic race for those of you who have ever been or have been thinking about going. That's probably the one race on the Cars Tour you need to go see. Chris Regal is the director of that series. He's a great friend of mine. I've known him for about 20 years now. Before he even started on the Cars Tour, he was actually my first crew chief when I raced. So look at that. How's that?
Wow.
Small world.
Say that again?
He was my crew chief when I was racing. When
really?
I first started racing, yeah.
Wow.
So
who would have ever thought?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Anyway,
Randy did such an amazing job with the car that Chris crew chief that Chris is now a series promoter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's no longer crew
chief.
chiefing.
You're a dream maker.
Yeah. He got Chris right out of the crew chiefing business.
Yeah, because the first time I hit the wall, he said, "I quit," and then he moved to Charlotte. Anyway, so Ryan, talk a little bit about that race because that's like when you're starting out running late models, and especially in this area, that's one race that I think everybody circles on their calendar and goes, "I want to be in this race." And then you end up winning the race in a car that the paint scheme was kind of like a Dave Marcus throwback car, and you even changed your number to match his number for that race. Talk a little bit about that.
So that's definitely a big race. I think that's the only one that Hickory throws where the parking is actually clear out to Tractor Supply, actually. So you got to get there early just to park, much less find a seat. Then I think it was probably one of the only races where they actually sent people home. We had so many cars that showed up to try to make the field. So it's a super competitive race, and then it was just an honor to be able to win the race, much less have Dave Marcus in victory lane with us at the event, which was awesome. The whole deal just came together great. They had I'd been wanting to do that, and it was just really cool to be able to honor him, and especially with him being there in person. That it was the first time in series history that had ever happened.
Why Dave Marcus?
Well, believe it or not, it actually came together because they wanted a Dave Marcus car there because he was going to be there. I didn't know all this, and they reached out to me to do it, and it just all came together. It was one of those things that was meant to be, and it was great. And he's a super guy. I've talked to him on the phone since that race, and he was actually giving me pointers for Daytona.
Now
that's a pretty credible source, I'd say.
Well, I would say so, yes. The $64,000 question is, Did you wear wingtip shoes?
No.
No?
No, Alpine
Because Dave
Stars.
used to always race in wingtip shoes.
No, I had some Alpine Star shoes that I wore.
I'm not sure that they would even allow that.
I'm not sure that's
these
SFI
days. It's
approved anymore.
Yeah, no, they.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
See, and those are the kind of stories that we old folk like to tell.
Well, yeah.
Dave Marcus used to race NASCAR in
I
wingtip
did get
shoes.
to wear his Goodyear hat in Victory Lane, though.
That's awesome.
Yep. Not very many people can say that.
He's one of those just good old boys. You know,
Mhm.
he's so much fun to listen to in an interview and whatever. I'm sure that was a great joy for you to be able to do that with him there and
Oh, yeah.
give him that moment. I'm
Mhm.
sure he really enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah. Every time we talk to him, that he immediately goes to that race and how
Really?
awesome it was. Oh, yeah.
That's
It was great for him.
So he's kind of become like a mentor, almost a mentor to you, because you can, kind of,
yeah,
when
for
you talk
sure.
to him about, especially coming up with Daytona, your first time being at that track and on that track and running a race like that, he would be one person to go to,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
get
He's
advice about that track.
been racing there a long time, That's
right.
And I mean, that's one of those things with drafting. Not a whole lot really changes. It's still kind of the same concept. The body's changing stuff, so there's new tricks. But other than that, it's still the same deal, trying to suck up to people and pass them and all that.
So that's not the first paint scheme, the special paint scheme you had, because earlier in the year, didn't you do one for the University of North Carolina?
So yeah, we did, and we tried to raise money to try to for the victims' families and throughout. So the way that worked was we actually, I forget how long the race was. It was like 125 laps or something, and we had people buy laps at, it was like $15 or $20 a piece or something like that. And we were actually able to raise, I forget how much, but it was a good amount of money for the victims, which it was good to be able to do that in such a hard time for the school I go to.
That was for UNC Charlotte
Yeah.
when they had the shooting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everybody knows. Yeah.
And then you ended up having 2 starts in the Xfinity Series, both at Iowa Speedway. So how cool is it to be able to move up and go in and run Xfinity Series races at a track like Iowa, which I think every NASCAR fan wants to see NASCAR run on that track at some point in time, hopefully in 2021, knock on wood.
So I actually made 3 starts, another one
Oh,
at
yeah, you
Richmond.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
forgot about
yeah, it's really cool to be able to race in that series because there are so many young drivers trying to get their start and all across the country, and many of them dream of being out there one day. And it's one of those things that once you get going, you see just how competitive it is and hard to get a ride in that series. So it's just to even be out there in the field was an honor, and it was great to be able to run those cars. Believe it or not, they drive a lot like ARCA cars. To be honest, they're just a more locked down feel.
Right. It's talking about the difficulty and landing, the rides and stuff like that. We talk about brand development, on this show all the time. We talked about it with Michael and Sinclair. I think Anthony Alfredo is kind of the one driver who really kind of sets the standard for availability, because he's always posting on social media, he's always doing blogs, he's always doing things like that to get his brand out there. Is that stuff that you guys think about? I mean, you're still fairly early in your career, so there's still time to build your brand, but those are kind of things that set you always have to have something that sets you apart from everybody else, because you as you get higher in the series, you're going to face some stiff competition from everybody who wants your ride. So have you thought about the brand development thing and kind of thinking outside the box in terms of staying active on social media without just saying, all right, I'm racing now. Okay, now I'm finished this race.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's something that we got to think about now because social media is as big as it's ever been, and it's only going to get bigger. It's good because not everybody watches the races. You know what I mean? Like, people might be busy or something, and that could be like your best race of the year. So you want everybody to know how it went. So, I mean, it's definitely something to think about. And with it, everybody having the internet today and everybody being connected, it's definitely big because you can reach so many more people than before. So, and really, that makes it a good time to sponsor race cars because, beforehand, back before the internet, the only people that were actually going to see the cars were going to be the people that tuned into TV or the people that actually paid to buy a ticket. Now, with social media and all that, it's free to view the car now, is what I'm saying. So it's so it's a good thing.
It's a good analogy. And then the whole iRacing thing, and I know we talked about it on Thursday, how much iRacing helps you guys out. Is that something that you try to make sure, especially going to tracks this year that you've never been to before, is that a tool that you will utilize to kind of get those laps in before you go to the track for the first time?
Oh, without a doubt. So at Daytona, what we do for our single car runs, we actually make a run up by the top. So in order to get comfortable with that, I did it on iRacing many times just to try to get used to the width of the car and where the wall was on the racetrack and all that. That way I knew just how close I could get.
Spatial judgment.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So it's huge for stuff like that. And I really don't understand the argument with, saying that it's not racing, which It is and it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's nobody's saying it's the same thing as real racing.
Yeah, you said it perfect on Thursday.
Yeah, but
there are two different things that intersect.
The esports version of it is the professional version of simulated racing. It's not. Nobody's trying to say that it's a substitute for auto racing.
Right.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
It's something that Toyota actually heavily relies on. As you know, Ryan will find out now that he's part of the program. He'll get to go over to TRD and he'll get to race in their simulator. And it's funny that he says an Xfinity car is close to an ARCA car because right now there's no ARCA car in their program, so we actually use an Xfinity car and go to the ARCA tracks on that. So that's something that they heavily use for all of their Toyota drivers in all 4 of the top series now. So it definitely has its place in what we do.
All the manufacturers are doing that now. And even in, it's huge over like an F1 and whatever, the simulation, the amount of money that those teams spend on simulation is astronomical. Like millions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Toyota simulator is out of this world. I say it's like an airline simulator. I've been on an airline simulator before, and the Toyota one's very similar to everything you can do, everything you can mimic. How big it is, how realistic it is. There's people that'll get on it and they'll get sick because it's so realistic. They're just not used to that from coming from basically a video game.
Well, and that's I look at it like it is basically the same as flight simulation. If you're going to be a pilot, I want you to make all your mistakes on that simulation game. I don't want you to make a mistake when you're flying my plane that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a training aspect that's very valid, and it doesn't mean that we're saying that somebody could go straight from a cup simulation to a cup ride. Still have to work your way up through the ranks, but it gives you that mental training and that visual on what you're supposed to be doing that's relatively close. So you're just kind of making little tweaks here and there to your line from the sim, right, Ryan? And in the real the real deal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like you said, making all your mistakes on the simulator, Southern National is on there. And we had a 4-race deal coming up to where we would have twins on Saturday and Sunday. So I crashed, spun out, I don't know how many times on the iRacing simulator, but I left the track with 2 wins, so I figured it out,
Again, there you go, yeah. And the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about a simulation crash is you hit a button, you got a brand new car.
Exactly. So you can push the car as hard as you can and get used to that, so it's good.
So many team owners are trying to figure out a way that they can hit their reset button and get brand new cars in the shop without having to touch it.
That would be
very
nice.
helpful sometimes.
If you find that reset button, let me know.
Exactly. I'm sure that would be a $1 million button if anybody could actually find a way to do that.
Need to package them and sell them.
Yes.
Sell the baby off. I'd have to own property somewhere. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to use Nick as our get to know you subject since Michael's now gone. And we'll figure out a day in the life of a PR director. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass next.
Oh, boy.
This is News Talk 105.9 Lake Norman, 100.7 Greater Statesville, WSIC, where North Mac turns first for breaking news and severe weather alerts.
Are you looking for new apparel for your business? How about a school or church event? Look no further than Lakeside Custom Tees and Embroidery of Cornelius. Their catalog features t-shirts, hats, jackets, coffee mugs, and more. Their number is 704-274-3730 or shop online at lkscustomtees.com. Lakeside Custom Tees, your exclusive headquarters for Lake Norman gifts and apparel.
For WSIC, I'm Fox 46 meteorologist Nick Koser. Second half of the day around the lake. Going to be sunny but chilly, a high of only 39. Overnight low down to about 20. Tomorrow, more sunshine, a touch warmer with a high of 46 degrees. And then for Thursday, partly sunny skies and warmer yet with a high of 48. From the Neighborhood Stormwatch Forecast Center, I'm meteorologist Nick Koser. Be sure to catch Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane today on Fox 46 News at 5.
WSIC News, I'm Margaret Beveridge. A father who came out of the stands and lunged at his son's opponent during a wrestling match on Saturday in Kannapolis is now facing charges. Harrisburg resident Barry Jones was attending a wrestling match featuring Hickory Ridge High School where his son is on the team. According to our news partner Fox 46, during his son's match, cell phone video shows Jones tackling his son's opponent after a big hit. The 17-year-old student athlete who was tackled was not seriously injured. Davidson's Ada Jenkins Center received the Duke Energy Citizenship and Service Award at Lake Norman's Chamber of Commerce Gala Friday.
It is such an honor
to be receiving this award on behalf of the Ada Jenkins Center. The center itself is just such an amazing and strong organization.
That's Georgia Kruger on what receiving the award means to the center. The Ada Jenkins Center exists to help create lasting solutions to economic stability. I'm Margaret Beveridge, WSIC News.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like all of you, I had trouble sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. That's why over 10 years ago, I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs so you get to sleep faster and you stay there longer. And I have a 60-day money-back guarantee.
Right now, you can buy one of MyPillow premiums and get another one absolutely free. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code WSIC. Remember, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code WSIC.
Take News Talk 105.9, 100.7 WSIC with you wherever you go. Listen online at WSICFM.com.
Hello, race fans. This is Chris Wright. Thanks for listening to these guys. Man, what some great radio hosts. You're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass on WSIC. Speaking of Chris Rice, I think he's our guest next week, I believe. I'm pretty sure I have to double check.
Now I hope he is.
I hope he is, since I did say that, but I'm sure it won't be difficult.
Hey, Chris, if you weren't, you are now.
Exactly.
We just booked you.
Yeah, he's pretty easy. All I have to do is just make a phone call. And he's like, yeah, sure, what do you want? So anyway, we'll talk to if he's here next week, which I'm sure he will be. We'll talk to him about Daytona and all that good stuff. Back on the Inside Pass, Team Venturini Motorsports Appreciation Day. We had Michael Self earlier on in the show. If you missed that, we'll have it on demand probably sometime tomorrow or Thursday if you missed his part of the interview. But Tom's sitting over there in the Silman seat, which is normally occupied by Jacob Silman, and again, that's the coldest seat in the world right now. But actually, I don't think it's running right now.
No,
so
the air's not on.
It's kind of warm today. But we got Ryan Repko sitting next to me, and then Nick Montra, who is the PR guy. And
tire changer, spotter,
tire changer, spotter,
floor sweeper,
truck driver,
whatever
floor
you need.
sweeper.
No, I draw the line of truck driver. I'm not driving the thing.
Grocery getter.
Does
He does windows.
He does windows.
You need your windows cleaned. Just reach out to him on social media. So, Nick, give us a little bit of, insight as to your regular job, which is the PR guy for Venturini Motorsports. What typically goes into a day in the life of a PR director?
So a day-to-day for us is basically working with all of our drivers that we have, already announced, working with the ones that, we're getting ready to announce, and spend a lot of time with press releases, working on their social media releases. We'll actually work with Toyota here in the next week or two, and we'll take all of our drivers to their official media training. So that'll be a week-long event. Ryan will get to go to that.
Ryan's got a head start.
Yeah, he sure does. And they'll put them through the ringer for all those, and they'll be stress tests and how many times to tweet a day, how many times use Instagram a day, and what best to use and hashtags and all that. And so basically, after we get through with that, we're right into Daytona, and it's basically for all of our big races. It's pitching. How do we get the Ryans of the world on shows like this, and how do we get their name out? How do we get the team's name out? And we work with them on a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Michael, for instance, does a lot with Sinclair, so we'll facilitate all of their guests at the track. We'll facilitate all their show car appearances, and then we work with the series since they're sponsored by Menards, and we'll do a lot of appearances at Menards. We'll take drivers, we'll take cars, we'll bring in their contractors and stuff like that. So it's different every day, because some days it's just in front of your computer screen writing stories, and other days it's we're planning 6 races out, and how many guests we're going to have, how many tickets we're going to have, what giveaways we're going to do, and things like that.
That sounds like a very expensive job to do.
Well, it's
like a lot of work.
It's a variety, and I kind of like that. It's something different every day, so it keeps each day fresh, right?
Absolutely. That's honestly been my favorite part of being in the ARCA series and the truck series over my career. Is just the variety that you get at the lower level. It's not more like a factory where you have one thing you're doing every day. I can do everything. We're joking off air that I'm going to change tires at some of the short track races, because that's how I got my start in racing 15 years ago. I was a tire changer. So with our modified pit stops that we're going to do at some of the short tracks this year, Billy Venturini come to me and said, "Hey, do you want to change tires at some of the East races and some of the short track ARC races where we're not allowed to have pit crew?" And my simple answer was no. My knees won't let me do it. And he said, "Good. Your first race is New Smyrna."
Yeah.
So
get in the gym and get ready.
Yep, exactly. That's what he told me yesterday. He said, "How's your gym routine?" I was like, "I'm going to change oil on the Peterbilt later on." And I mean, that's pretty tough. And he's like, "Well, good. Do it again."
The only gym I know has a Slim in front of it.
Exactly. I'd much rather snap into a Slim gym.
Snap into a Slim gym.
Well, maybe Ryan can take you with him then when he goes to the gym.
Yeah. That sounds like a horrible idea.
Come on,
just keep the bond. Keep the bond.
I know the Caitlin and them over at TD2, and I don't want any part of that. I feel like I would definitely cry. And then I know a lot of the drivers over there, all our drivers, and some other ones like Austin Hill, and I feel like there'd be a lot of social media posts with me crying because I'd be getting yelled at, and it would just hurt.
You'd be laying in the fetal position in the corner.
Exactly. I feel like I would definitely. Christian be over there kicking me, say, "Get up, come on! Remember all them times last year you made me do this."
You'd be the first wheelchair-bound tire changer.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's like rolling out on pit road. You have to put the wheelchair accessible ramp in front of the pit stall so you can roll out there, change tires.
I still have to go find my pit gun. I think it's buried in a barn somewhere, so I might have a mouse in it. I don't know.
You have about 2 weeks to find your pit gun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Before Daytona.
Fun stuff.
So you've actually been with Venturini twice already. We've talked a little bit about all the drivers that have come through Venturini Motorsports over the years. I think Thursday you told us off there were like 93 people or something like that have come and gone.
We've had 93 different drivers, before the start of the season.
And there are a lot of talent that has come through there. We mentioned during the quiz guys like Alex Bowman, Justin Allgaier, William Byron. A lot of the junior motorsports guys are on that team. Has it been fun to work with those guys and see those guys transition from starting in Venturini and then moving on up to the company?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. When I first started, when Billy was just starting the program, and we were aligned with just Gibbs at the time, all the way back to when they were a Chevrolet team. And when they switched to Toyota, we switched to Toyota with them. We followed suit. So I got to be at the ground level of when we had Mark Davis, when he was a Joe Gibbs driver, and actually he was sponsored by Slim Jim. So it's funny you said that. And then we had Joey Logano come in, and Joey was there solely for the purpose because the new age requirement came out back then, and they had nowhere to take him. Mm-hmm. So they wanted to get him seat time before he turned 18. So his first race with us back then was Rockingham when they did the big 500K race. Started 50 cars. It was insane. It was the first race back at Rockingham. And I think, we led the most laps that day. There was 5 cars in the lead lap. Most defining moment for that I remember is how much it ate tires. I remember we talked about Myrtle Beach last week. Is Rockingham's the same way because we came in with, I think it was like 10, 15 laps to go. Caution came out. We came to put tires on, and everybody was worried that we wouldn't be able to get back up there. And by turn 3, Joey had already passed everybody, including Ken Schrader. And so, it was crazy what tires did that day. And it was crazy the talent level that Joey showed at such a young age. And we got to do that, 3 more races with him. We ran some more with Mark. Ryan Fisher, he was a CJM development driver back then. It was an Xfinity team back then. So we did a lot with that, and that's kind of the catalyst that started this whole program.
Yeah, you guys work a lot with TRD, and of course, Venturini Motorsports is kind of like the first place a lot of the young drivers go to kind of get their feet wet in the ARCA series before they move up to Xfinity and Cup. You do a lot of work with Lauren Ranier, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, and he talked about like the art of finding good talent. So as you being a PR guy and having to deal with all these people that come through the ranks and come through the doors at Venturini Motorsports, is there one guy that you like, when they walk in the door, you're like, okay, I don't have to do much for him. Like I know he's going to, kind of know what to do, and I don't have to do much to kind of train and teach him.
Ryan Repko, of course.
Well, aside from Ryan, of course.
So we've actually, we've seen him all over the board. You've seen him from where you were literally, walk him in, you're going to show him everything. And those 9 times out of 10 are a lot of the drivers that come out of like the midget ranks or come out of dirt ranks, and they don't really know.
Exposure.
Exactly. So I remember since I first started, now that I'm back, I was also part of the driver development program and the scouting and the searching and everything with Billy. Back then, it was he and I would go to races. We would go to places like Hickory and we would watch drivers. Yeah. We would go ask them questions because a lot of times they didn't know who we were. So we would ask them questions about what they did for media, what they would do for working out, how they trained. And now, obviously, Toyota has a huge program that we are involved with on a daily basis. And, we utilize Keith Kuhn's Motorsports a lot, which they were down in the Chili Bowl, and work with Bill McNally out in the West Coast. And that's kind of how we transition. But the drivers themselves, it just really depends on where they come. I remember we had Josh Richards, who was a big World of Outlaws late model driver for a while, and we were at Kentucky Speedway. And Josh, dirt his whole life, didn't know anything about it. We had tested, and under caution, there was oil all the track. Somebody blew a motor, and he radioed in. He said, "Hey, So in dirt racing, when there's oil on the track, we want to run through it because it helps cool our tires and slick them up for the next restart. Do I do that here? And just quickly, no. Absolutely not.
Do not do that.
Get about 10 car lengths away from that oil. You want nothing to do with it. But that's just kind of, how we take every driver in stride with what their background is and, kind of what their goals are.
At least he was sharp enough to ask
yes.
before he did it.
Thank goodness he asked.
That would have been expensive.
Yeah, that would have been an expensive fix, and then we would have been done early that day.
Yeah.
It's like you do something, you're like, I don't know if I was supposed to do this or not. You're like, no.
Exactly.
No, don't do that. So we mentioned that Ryan has 5 races for Venturini Motorsports this year. What 5 races is it again?
We got Daytona, Talladega, Charlotte, Michigan, and Chicago.
So 5 very different
all
tracks.
The fun tracks.
All the fun tracks.
All the big tracks, fast tracks.
Is there a track on the ARCA circuit that you're not racing at that you wish you could?
Probably all the rest of them. I wish I was running full time.
Good answer.
That's a right
good answer. Nick's over there taking notes like, he better say all of them.
Well, you should say Salem Speedway since he has such a good track record with throwback races. Salem Speedway is the ARCA official throwback race every year, so I feel like that'd be a good fit for him.
Or some really worn out short track like Salem.
Like Salem Speedway.
See, you'd have to slap the 71 on it. And
for sure.
Well, I was going to say,
who has the number 71 ARCA car?
I'm not sure who has a 71. I don't know if there's one. But last year we actually got to do some cool stuff. We did a lot of Big Bill's throwbacks. So we did, his rookie of the year, his first championship, and so we're going to hopefully keep that trend going this year. Maybe we'll get you in one of them races.
That's awesome.
I figure he should take Dave Marcus with him everywhere he goes. If Dave was the one that was there when he won the throwback race, and be like, "You're going.
Dave's always welcome.
You're coming with me."
Well, Dave would just be fun to have around.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna play a little get to know you game called This or That. Tom played it with Ryan on Thursday, but I made up different questions because I don't want to do the same questions since it's kind of boring. So Nick can play now since Michael's not here. So, all right, so first of all, dogs or cats, Ryan?
Oh, dogs for sure.
Nick?
Dogs. Hopefully, my dog Twinkie's listening at home right now.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a pit bull mix that I rescued from the Humane Society in Charlotte.
See, it's always good. I like when people rescue pit bulls because pit bulls get the bad rap. Everybody thinks they're horrible animals, but it's all on how you treat them.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the most lovable dog in the world, scared of her own shadow.
All right, Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
I would take anything since I have satellite internet and I can't use it.
I would watch paint dry as long as it's on
Literally,
TV.
if I can get dial-up, that'd be fine.
That's funny. Phone calls or text messages?
Oh, text, without a doubt.
I do both on a daily basis, nonstop. So text is easier because I can do 14 different things at once while I'm texting. So,
see, notice that the kid prefers texting.
Yes.
Yeah.
This generation does not make phone calls.
Well, like we discussed, Snapchat actually.
Yeah, I hate that app.
Yeah, it's so.
I have no memory for that. Like someone texts me on that, I'm like, "What'd you say?" Oh, it was 6 weeks ago. I don't remember. I don't even know how to do that.
You tap it.
See, that's too much for me. I'm texting phone call. That's it.
I've never been a phone person either. I always do text messages. I don't know phone calls. Well, I guess this would more apply to Ryan than Nick. Not that you don't work out, Nick, but cardio.
He's gonna now.
Cardio or weights?
Oh, without a doubt, weights. But I need to be working on cardio. That way I can not run out of breath,
Right. I think, Nick, you should probably do both at this point since you're going to be a crew member again.
Thanks, Randy. I really appreciate that.
All right, going on a lawn trip, are you the passenger or the driver?
Driver.
Typically a driver.
It depends on who's going to be driving.
Unless we're driving to a race somewhere, we're in the bus or the van at the team. I'd much rather be a passenger in those things.
Okay, so a car or a truck? I already know I know Ryan's answer.
Car.
Well, truck, absolutely.
Yeah, truck. Yeah,
Pick up all day.
Me too.
Toyota Supra.
Dine in or delivery?
Dine in.
If I'm going out, it's dine in, but I would much rather just prefer to cook, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I would agree with that. Comedy films or horror movies?
Ooh, probably comedy.
Comedy all day long. I want nothing to do with horror.
Yeah,
especially now. Horror movies used to be really scary. Now they're just like really seriously. They just show you.
And
too
they're
much.
confusing.
That too.
All right, Ryan, if you could win a race in any series, any division, anywhere in the world, what race and what series would you choose?
Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR Cup Series.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. That's obviously we were talking about the Chili Bowl last week. I figured maybe being from Quarter Midgets, he would want to do that. All right, I wish Mike was here for the last question, but he's not. All right, it's the last lap of the Daytona race.
Oh,
Mike is leading. You're in second. Are you going to push him to victory, or are you going to push him in the wall?
Can we just maybe
with
bump him out of the way? Not so much.
Let's not get that hardcore. It's
with the test, I don't know if that's even possible because an air pocket forms between the two cars, so you can only get but so close. I mean,
you'd have to have somebody behind you.
It's going to really depend on what's behind him and what the guy in front of him is doing, what Michael's doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean,
there's so much going on.
This isn't like a short track where I can just run it in there and do whatever. I mean, this is complicated stuff, you know?
The correct answer is I'm going to find a way to pass him cleanly and win the race.
That's what I would want to do.
That's a much better answer.
Yeah.
That's approved by the team.
Exactly.
But I mean, from someone that's been up on the roof spotting at Daytona and Talladega, it's just like politics up there. You're running around, spotters are running around like crazy talking to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
If they want to get
a short track level, too.
If they want to get a run on the guy in front of them, the guy in front has to drag his brakes a little bit, but then, it's going to take 3 cars behind him to do the same thing, and they got to get rid of that air pocket, and then they all got to side draft together, and there's just so much that goes on that people don't see. It's crazy.
All about Wheelan and Dylan. Ryan, give us your social media.
So you can pretty much plug Ryan Repko into anything. Facebook's Ryan Repko, Twitter's @Ryan_Repko 14, and my Instagram is @Ryan Repko.
All right, Nick, the team Venturini one.
Venturini Motor on Twitter. That's the one we're most active on. We use that pretty much daily.
All right. Thanks to Michael Self and Ryan Repko. Catch the ARCA race February 8th on FS1. We'll see you guys next week on the Inside Pass.
News Talk for Southern Iredell. This is 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, and 1400 AM. WSIC Statesville.